if we look at this, so here in the United States today, people want to drive their big cars and they want to have their big houses and they want to maintain their lifestyles.
Hmm.
No different in 1974. And so, yes, we can say there were other influences, no doubt. But when you read the document, you really get a picture of the horrific mindset of Kissinger and those working with him, Nixon included,
Hmm.
of depopulation. That's the real issue here.
Okay, so this is probably like a very blunt and like probably too like not very nuanced way to put it. But was it basically saying keep the populations of other countries small so that we can use their natural resources?
So that would be one way to summarize it.
Okay.
Basically it is in order for us to maintain our needs,
Hmm.
wants, if you want to add that word in, is we have to keep the rest of the world, especially where those resources are found,
Hmm.
in smaller population, so that they'll have less use of those, and we'll have greater use of those. So
Hmm.
basically, by creating policies that promote depopulation, and
Hmm.
that's what the document says. And people might be listening, going, "Oh, come on." Read the document. I'm going to read one paragraph. I think it's important. It's a very, very important paragraph. Now, I know it's a little long, but I'm
Okay.
not going to read all
No,
of
I
it.
think it's good
But it
to
says
read.
there is also the danger that the lesser developed countries, what's called LDCs, will see pressures for family planning as a form of economic or radical imperialism. So this could well create a serious backlash. So he's looking already that if we start promoting these policies, then we're going to see a backlash. But here's the paragraph that I want us to consider from NSSM-200. The U.S. economy will require large and increasing amounts of minerals from abroad, especially from less developed countries, LDC, as I just mentioned. That fact gives the U.S. enhanced interest in the political, economic, and social stability of the supplying country. So it's looking at the other countries and questioning their political, economic, and social stability. Wherever a lessening of population pressures through reduced birth rates can increase the prospects of such stability, population policy becomes relevant to resource supplies and to the economic interest of the United States. So,
Hmm.
in other words, if we see a country growing in population, and obviously that would promote greater stability for that nation because people are, and we don't look at this from a utilitarian point of view, but
Hmm.
people are the greatest resource, their gifts, their skills. So it's looking at them and saying, if those nations continue to rise in population, that becomes a threat to the United States.
Okay, I definitely misinterpreted that then because I heard that and I was thinking that they were wanting countries to be stable.
No, no,
No?
no.
Because it seems like they're just saying they're interested in how stable they are. So it's not
It's
we want these countries to be stable so that we can most effectively get the resources
no,
at.
no. You want to because again, if you look at today, look at India. So India today is a growing economic power. All
Yeah.
right. Years, decades ago, that was not the case. And
Okay.
so, but you have a very large population. You have a population that is growing and it's strengthening its economic, its social stability.
Hmm.
And so it's entering the market now in a very strong way that at one time it did not. And so we can say the same thing in other countries. And so this
Hmm.
becomes a concern from the Kissinger point of view, from the National Security Memorandum, looking at that and saying, hey, that becomes a threat, to our own need, because if India, let's say today, and other countries are then using their own resources, and
Hmm.
we now have a less opportunity to those resources, then that becomes a threat to the United States.
Okay, so I'm still confused about this then because India has been one of the primary targets of population
Of
control
course,
and it's you don't have more than 2 children,
right.
very much targeted by population control. So wouldn't that go against like wouldn't that be proving the point that if you have population control and families have 2 kids, you're going to end up with something more
Well,
stable?
eventually, that's the goal, because you want to depopulate, you want to decrease the
But
population.
wouldn't that be making it more stable?
Well, no, because it makes it more dependent. So
Oh.
and that's the whole idea. You're trying to position the United States in a position of leverage. This is the
Okay.
motivation. So basically, if we have to stay strong. We have to be, the main player on the block. And
Mhm.
so, in order to maintain that, we need to make sure that these other countries are not growing instability. Now, we can't come out and say that. That's why I was reading this other quote
Yeah.
about we can't come across as imperialistic here, and colonialism that we once had around the world.
Mhm.
We can't do that because that would portray us in a very bad light. Nor could we go out and impose depopulation policies. So when you read the
Mhm.
document, you're going to hear about abortion. There's a section on it.
Mhm.
But it also recognizes in that period of time that we could not use money from the United States to leverage abortion around the world. However, what we could do is leverage the United Nations. We can leverage their policies and their
An
procedures
International
and
Planned
international
Parenthood.
people to go in and speak about, these issues and make these available, whether they're legal or illegal.